Sal Paolantonio, powered by Dunkin' Donuts. Fuel up on Eagles game day with $1 medium coffee. He joins me now. The look at Eagles and Cowboys. He'll be in Big D. Where else would you be, Sal?
I'm excited to go. I haven't been there since the Super Bowl was there, and I'm really looking forward to this matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Did the game lose a little bit of its luster the way that the Cowboys kind of fell apart at the seam, or is this still a big Sunday nighter?
No, this is going to be huge. This will be the number one rated Sunday night game of the year. This will be the number one rated NFL game of the year. The Cowboys always draw big, and the Eagles right now are a hot team.
Sal, you look at Eagles 8-1, Dallas 5-4. What is the, if Philly was to lose this game, is there cause for concern? Or are they still firmly in control in the East?
No, they're firmly in control of the East, but, my view now is, having seen the Saints in Buffalo, that's where I was on Sunday, having seen the Saints and how formidable they are developing into, they are going to be a tough out in the postseason, and you don't want to face them in New Orleans, for sure. This is now a 7-game race to see who gets the number one seed in the NFC. And in my view, the Eagles cannot take a week off. They really cannot. And they have to be able to bring it each and every week. And there's got to be no letdown. I don't care if the left tackle's out, or Sean Lee's out, or Ezekiel Elliott's out. They have to do what they do and improve each and every week. And the first thing that I want to see them do in this game specifically is perform as well on third down against a very good third down defense. The one thing that Cowboys are underrated at is third down defense, and that's because they can rush the passer. They probably have the best pass rusher in the NFL right now in DeMarcus Lawrence. They're very well coached. They have a very simple but very effective pass rushing scheme. So I'm interested to see how Carson Wentz and the Eagles offense handles the Cowboys pass rush, specifically on third down.
Yeah, they're pretty good up in the front seven. They're probably going to be without Sean Lee. And, over the years, when they don't have Lee, that's a different defense. He is a huge difference maker, specifically in games against Philly, Sal.
He is. He's sort of like the Luke Kuechly of that defense.
Yep.
And, they're definitely different. The Eagles should – I emphasize should, because, you're coming off a bye, you're in the crosshairs. They should be able to run the football on this Dallas team without Sean Lee. And if they can do that and stay out of long, third and long, they should be in control of the line of scrimmage offensively.
Sal Paolantonio with us here, Eagles-Cowboys week. And you talked about seeing the Saints. Philadelphia – at 8-1, you're right. There's a race to the end, and how important home field is. And there's 4 or 5 teams that are all in the race for that home field. So even if the Eagles are to win this game and go to 9-1 and knock the Cowboys to 5-5, they still have plenty to play for down the stretch.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah, they don't want the NFC Championship game to be in L.A. with the Rams. They don't want it to be in New Orleans. With the Saints, they certainly don't want to have to go back to Carolina, even though they beat Carolina. Hard to beat a team twice in a row in home stadium. So the Eagles are definitely in the driver's seat, but the way to stay in the driver's seat is just take care of your business. Now, defensively, when they're on the field, this has got to be an attacking game. They've got to attack Dak Prescott. Make him feel as uncomfortable in the pocket early in the game as possible. This is not a game to sit back and let him move around the pocket with the 3- and 4-man rush and wait for things to open up. They've got to go after him right from the beginning.
That's what the Falcons did last week, and Dak had some problems. But Tyron Smith, if he is to miss the game, how big of another impact? Or do you think them having him out for a week, that they will learn from some of the mistakes they made in that game against Atlanta if Smith can't play?
Sure, there'll be adjustments for sure. I'm expecting that. But what I'm hearing from Dallas is that Tyron Smith's groin injury is severe. So, he may play. He may not be effective. as effective as he normally would be. This is a Pro Bowl level tackle every year. The Eagles have a very good pass rush. They throw a lot of bodies at you. Jim Schwartz against Dak Prescott is always something that you want to say, all right, this is a Jim Schwartz special, especially if the left tackle is out. To me, the way to control this football game is old-fashioned. You got to control the line of scrimmage offensively by running it on first and second down as much as possible, and attacking the quarterback as much as possible on first and second down.
We're talking Eagles Cowboys. Sal Powell's with us, and Sal, how about Jay Ajayi? What you saw from him that first game? Do you anticipate that Doug implements more of him this week and in the coming weeks? Obviously, they'll give him more, but do you think that he will be kind of the focal point? End up being the focal point of this. I'm really intrigued to see how they utilize him down the stretch.
I am, and I don't really know the answer to that, and we'll find a little bit about that on Sunday. There's no question about it. I think, he's played a really good, close to the vest hand week in and week out. He promised us, if you remember, and you and I talked about this at the end of training camp when Pederson brought this up. He promised us that he would use the running backs situationally, that he would handle this on a week-to-week basis, and it would be a situational game plan. And if you remember last year, when the Eagles went into Dallas, they had all kinds of problems getting the running backs going, and it really hurt them. And I think in this game, they need to do that. But Doug's nature is that he wants to be as aggressive as possible in the game plan offensively right from the beginning. That's always been the way he has called games. And I anticipate they will use Ajayi in an aggressive manner in this game.
Sal, I really am interested to get your kind of background and take on this whole situation because I love the segment on ESPN a couple of weeks ago. By the way, the Wentz thing was really entertaining as well, but the ride-along that you did that we talked about with Pederson, and then before the game a couple of weeks ago, you got a chance to sit and talk to him. But go back to that whole situation with what's going on in Miami. They get bombed again last night. Adam Gase, McAdoo's on the hot seat. Those were the two guys that a lot of people thought the Eagles were going to end up with or wanted, and sometimes it's that guy that you don't expect that the Eagles kind of backed into.
Well, I think, first and foremost, Doug Pederson married up with Carson Wentz was the perfect marriage. Now, Gase had Ryan Tannehill, who had a spotty record, and Tannehill gets hurt, and he's got to go to Jay Cutler, and then he's got problems in the locker room there with different players, and he's got a combustible personality on defense in Dominican Sue. So you add all that in, and it's not as easy a coaching job as you think. Now, McAdoo and Eli Manning's a different situation. Last year they went to the playoffs year one, and everybody was healthy. This year they've been beset by some injuries, and he's had some disciplinary problems on defense, and he hasn't handled them, to the liking of the locker room. And things have gone south, and his quarterback is older. He's 36 years old. He's not as mobile as you need to be in the NFL these days. So I think what's helped Pederson clearly is that he's had a perfect marriage with Wentz. I always said to you, Mike, and to anyone who would listen, that this guy is the perfect quarterback for this team at this time.
What have you learned from talking, getting a better feel of Doug? What has he learned that has made him, it seems that he does a good job to me, Sal, of delegating and taking ideas, and he's not the guy that says, well, it's not my idea, so we're not using it. That's what, to me, has really made Doug a successful head coach right now.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, certainly. I would, if I had to list them for you, and I've been around this guy since he walked into the building, and I knew him when he played. So, I've gotten to know him, he trusts me, obviously, or else he's not going to have me go on a ride along with him into the stadium. That's the first time that a reporter has ever gone on a ride along to a stadium during an NFL regular season game in the history of the league. That's the first time ever.
It was that piece was awesome, by the way. That was really cool.
Well, I mean, the point is that he trusts me, and so we have a pretty good relationship. I do challenge him for sure, but I don't challenge him publicly in a way that is embarrassing to him. So that's the relationship that I have with him. But the bottom line is, I think first and foremost, he's comfortable with who he is. There is zero fakeness about this guy. He is not in any way, shape, or form insincere or phony. Players see that and understand that. Forget the media. Players see that and understand that. He's totally shooting these guys straight. And I think in year two, to complement that sincerity, he's developed a toughness to him, a decisiveness to him. It's been born out of the confidence and success that he's had, and that all develops. And then three, and I can't emphasize this enough, he's got Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is a special, not only is he developing into a special player, he's a special human being. I've been covering the league for 25 years. I've seen a lot of young quarterbacks come and go. And I've always said, to me, as a former, naval officer, the way I ultimately judge people, maybe this is unfair, is how he would handle being a young officer in the military.
Yeah.
Could I see Carson Wentz put on the uniform of a captain in the Army or the Marine Corps and handle being a young officer in the service? And the answer to that is emphatically yes. I could see it happen. I could see him being extremely successful as a young military officer. And if he can do that, he certainly could be a quarterback at the NFL level.
Sal Paolantonio, don't forget the NFL matchup show Saturday morning, ESPN 2, 8:30, Sundays at 4 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. on ESPN. And Sal Pal, ESPN Instant Analysis on Instagram, as you got to check those out with Lou Riddick, Greg Cosell, Sal Pal, and wherever Sal is. Last week he was up there in Buffalo for the Saints. And, Sal, you're going to be in Dallas for Eagles and Cowboys, which is going to be a great atmosphere. But give us the keys and the rundown and your take on that and your pick for that game.
Well, I think the Eagles are going to win 27-20. I think the Eagles are going to win by being aggressive offensively, sticking to their aggressiveness at the quarterback position, but following it up with a dominant running game. And, to me, you got to keep at the running game. You may not have early success because the Cowboys know it's coming. Stick with it. Number two, attack Dak. Attack Dak from the get-go. Never let him get comfortable back there. And number three, and this is always true, but it's especially true on the road. It's especially true on the road in November. It's especially true on the road in November when you're playing your division opponent, the Dallas Cowboys. Don't turn the football over.
Obviously, by the way, last week the keys were to protect Carson Wentz. They did a great job of that. 50 points. That was 2 weeks ago, by the way, coming off the bye. But we'll see if they come out of this bye and look refreshed for the final 7 here. We'll be talking about them with Sal Paolantonio. The Eagles will score a $1 coffee the day after every Eagles victory, and we'll see if Monday you will have $1 Dunkin' Donuts with Sal Paolantonio. Sal, safe flight. Enjoy the game, pal.
Okay, Mike. Great talking to you. Thanks for having me on your show.